watching W Media and I'm Deborah Gray. We are coming to you from Mumbai CDC, which is the Cloud and Data Center Convention and Awards 2023. Joining me now is a special guest, Rajesh Srivastava from Jacobs. So let's talk about something I'm passionate about and you're passionate about, and that is sustainability.
Right.
There is a lot of lip service paid to it, but what have you actually seen here in the Indian, cloud and data center industry in terms of commitment to sustainability?
Yeah, as you rightly said, I think sustainability is a very broad topic, and there was of late a lot of what you call whitewashing around it. But that was for the reason of it being extremely vague. So since the last decade, or actually last 5 years, there has been an effort being made to define how you assess sustainability. Because everybody who was doing anything was saying, I'm being sustainable. So somebody just planting a tree is just saying that, okay, while that is a sustainable initiative, but it is bigger than that. It's not just, go plant a tree.
It's not a PR stunt.
Yeah.
Sustainability is not a PR stunt.
Absolutely. So I think sustainability has involved where organizations are publishing these sustainability report to what you call as a ESG. So ESG is nothing but 3 fundamental pillars that sustainability practitioners have defined are, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little preachy here, but the sustainability practitioners have defined to be an assessment metric for anybody doing sustainability. So what does ESG stand for? It stands for environmental. So all your environmental performance indicators that have effect on the environment, whether it's carbon emissions, whether it's waste generations, whether it's circularity, or whether it's your transportation. So all of that forms the E part of it, the environmental. There is the social, S, the social. So how you being to the community, whether it's your internal community, your employees, your broader community that you're networking as a part of your business. And the G is the governance. So your policies, are they sustainable? Are there anti-bribery provisions? Are there provisions for, diversity? Are there provisions for equality? Are there provisions for adequate representation? So the ESG part of it becomes a metric on which the sustainability is assessed.
I'm glad you brought up the regulatory environment, because at the end of the day, it's not like there is no will. The government does have a will, state government, central government, but somehow we are not seeing it culminate in terms of actual real, hard line in the sand policies. So what would you like to see in terms of effective policies and best practices that must be implemented, and the government has a role in it?
I mean, there is a lot of that is happening under the present government, and it's the COP26, and we are now we had that big event where we are the ambassadors. We have the Sherpa who are driving a lot of what they call as a lot of these metrics broadly that are driven are under what they call as a United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
You might 17 goals.
Yes,
yeah.
You might have heard of them. So I think what the government is doing is aligning to each of those, because each of those are specific to a particular end outcome that makes the world more sustainable. So there is a lot of that happening as a part of the governance, and that is a willful engagement. While there is a need for willful engagement and there is a need to create awareness, because no matter how many regulations you have, we are a democracy at the end of the day. And, it shouldn't be a policing approach that somebody is doing it only to comply. They should see the value in it. And that's when you see the participation. So that's how I see it. It has to be more participation based than enforcement based.
But that participation has to be incentivized, right? Would you
Yes.
say? So how can you do that?
And there is a lot of incentivization approaches that are coming into play. Maybe that could be developed on more. The Ministry of Environment and Forest has come up with a green credit policy that is in the draft stages now, where a lot of the sort of sustainability based initiatives that you do will be quantified, and you'll get tax breaks, you'll get incentives for those, and so you'll get benefited. But you have to create a baseline, and if you don't perform to that baseline, you'll be penalized as well. So it's a big and a bane. So you will be sort of motivated to do better, but if within certain grounds which are not deliberate, so it comes to the intention of it. If you're not doing it for right intentions and you're failing, obviously there'll be some compassionate ground. I don't know how that is formulating at the grander scheme of things, but I see the essence of it. I've been in sessions with advocacy sessions with the MOEFCC, where they will find whether the non-compliance is because of willfulness, not and some challenges they are facing, or whether there's a mandatory sort of trying to sneak away from it kind of mindset.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because at the end of the day, it's about that whole design thinking. From the ideation stage itself, sustainability has to be a part of every decision you make. Do you see that as a part of the culture here, or has it started percolating? Because in the West, especially in Europe, that is a part of the culture, right?
No, I think it is. But I think there is two aspects of it, because I think it's in your face, right? Because you are seeing these catastrophic effects, climate change. It's real. It's happening all around it. We are seeing earthquakes. We are seeing these natural calamities happening. You are seeing, floodings happening. You're seeing all these kind of, extreme high temperatures. You're seeing irregular monsoon. So it's all happening around you, and it's causing people to think, or causing organizations to think around resiliency about with climate change, with these factors, and how we can build a one with the nature kind of approach, because that is the only way you will be resilient. Because if you try to do something adverse from how the mother nature works, you will face those consequences. So there is principles like nature-based solution. There's principles like biomimicry, which are getting incorporated into the businesses, into the data center operations. I mean, you heard so many people talking about using water as a cooling solution. And who didn't know that? We all know that, if you feel hot, what do? You go to your bathroom and take a bath. So it's all in front of you. But what they are doing, they're trying to, implement those principles of biomimicry or nature-based solutions to, further expand what they're doing. There is mangrove forestation. We're trying to do so much for carbon sequestration or decarbonization. Mangroves and certain plants are natural source of carbon sequestration. So people are recognizing that, they're preserving that. There is an agency formed in India called National Green Tribunal. You might have heard of it.
Yes.
And it's actually very commendable. It's one of a few countries in the world where we have a unique judicial body for management of environmental disasters. So I think there is a lot of that awareness, and there's a lot of it is in front of you. You can't ignore. I mean, there's pollution Delhi is facing, Mumbai is facing. You cannot just close your eyes and see that it's not happening. It's all over you. So I think people are seeing that, and they are trying to see what is the right thing to do.
Would you also say that some of this can also be made a part of the curriculum? Because we have some of the best engineering colleges, science and technology colleges, and they're churning out hundreds of thousands of graduates every year. And they're not necessarily geared for a data center job as such, but if we do start investing in creating, curriculums that will help these people get into the cloud and data center industry, perhaps sustainability should also be made a part of it at the college stage itself, catch them young.
Why college? You're in school. I mean, that's where your learning fundamentals are formed, And no, I think that's a good question, but I will give a context to that. I was fortunate to did my undergraduate and schooling here in India, and then I did my master's in US, and I kind of saw the learning style being so different. Like you go there, you have an open book system, and it's about learning rather than cramping the information. And I think a lot of that is starting to change, and that is why we have something called a moral value, right? So it should be part of our morality to see that what we do doesn't hamper or damage anyone.
But I think India has always had that culture. You minimize wastage, wastage is frowned upon. You always recycle. Like back in the days of my grandmother, also they'd recycle newspapers, old, furniture, old utensils. So we've had that as a part of our culture, but somewhere along the way, it just got sidetracked, perhaps.
Yeah, and in fact, that was a good thing, because even from older days, I know it's such sort of shifting to the wrong direction that I see, because we tend to try to conserve what we have. We try to, so if something is broken, let's say this table is broken, in a lot of the Western countries, they'll thrash it out and they'll get a new one. That was a mindset that I saw. Even when I went to college and as a poor graduate student, will hunt for these furnitures around that people throw off a decent one and take it to a house and
Repair it and
use it. But I think that Western, for lack of a better word, and that is, we should learn good things, because there are a lot of good things, civic sense and other things that are happening. But we are picking bad habits before, and that should be, that's what the circularity is about. You should try to see any waste as an asset. When you question of like, okay, I have to throw this, but do I really need to throw it? Can I make something good of it? Can I reutilize that?
So repair and recycle before replacing.
Yeah, reduce, repair, recycle, the 3 R's. So that's what you're saying. So even with food, we go to a buffet and we fill our plate, but I should just take a little bit of everything and what I like, and then I'll get a little bit more of that instead of filling my plate and throwing the food out. Like it's so basic, So it's all about trying to embed in your own culture. Even like in safety, there's something called behavior-based safety. Why should we do something which is, causing, after we go through a harm? We should do it as a preventive action. We should learn before the accident happens.
Prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is the philosophy of it. It should be more ingrained in your way of living, And I think we have as a culture that we just are moving away to it and going on the wrong direction. So we have to kind of self-discipline ourselves, in that way, I say.
Perfect. Finally, sir, you were a panelist here at Mumbai CDC today. What was your experience like? What was most exciting?
No, it was fantastic. It was really, I am by training an environmental person, but I work in collaboration with multidisciplinary technical teams delivering solutions for data center clients. And it's important to understand how the technical core of it is thinking. So it was a great exposure. You have a great sort of representation here and great participation, and it's a very positive vibe around everybody. Everybody's excited about sharing, learning, and it's a fantastic avenue. So I really enjoyed myself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We'll be bringing many more such interviews from Mumbai CDC, so stay tuned. In the meantime, I'm Deborah Gray.